This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
This table is really tilted.
Excuse me? Am I gonna get a chance to speak?
Maybe I should take that back.
Denied. Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Take a giant step for mankind.
Welcome to the Tilted Table, with your hosts, Sean and Joe.
Project round like an orange.
All right. Folks, welcome to another episode of the Tilted Table, the internet's answer to a question that no one asked. I am Sean Landon Clark.
And I am Joey Joe, the Fracky Mac.
Oh yeah, baby. And today we are going to be talking about useless skills that you would actually quit your job for.
Yes. Well, and I think when I came up with the idea, I want to underline completely useless skills that you would quit your day job for to pursue.
Oh my God. See, that's the problem with this is that now you're saying completely useless.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure like some of these you could monetize them and they're, get a sponsor or get on the Red Bull circuit or something like that. But like generally speaking, these are completely useless skills.
Okay, well, I get that. And the problem I'm having with the topic, and what I'm going to do my best to, come up with stuff, is that like I think any kind of skill, just by the word itself, skill, suggests that it could be monetized in some way. Mm-hmm. I mean,
let's assume for the sake of this episode that if you could monetize it, it's going to be something so nominal that it's just not even a thing.
Okay.
So I will go first. Since I was a little kid, I've always been fascinated by hip hop culture. This good, early '80s, seeing people carry around giant refrigerator cardboard boxes so they could break dance on the street corner.
Yes.
I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
Yes.
And, fast forward, 40 something years, I'm still on YouTube favoriting my favorite breakdancing pop and lock groups.
Yeah.
So in terms of like, if I could quit my day job and go learn how to do something, there's this group in France. They go by the handle Dragon House.
Okay.
And it's a group of, 5 or 6, like uber skilled breakdancing people. And one of the guys, so if you get on YouTube, you can just type in Dragon House Cypher or something like that. And we're talking like millions of views, and it's so fascinating.
Okay.
And it's music, and then in the background they're dancing. So like it's like a separate musical track. So you can like see them talk, but you're actually listening to the music. I've just been enthralled with this for years and years. I would love to learn how to break dance. And I would quit my day job to do it.
When I was in Mexico, last time I was in Mexico, we were at this bar. And of course, I got those people, kind of street performers and people doing whatever they can to make a buck. There was a crew rolled up to the bar, and they had the linoleum cutouts.
Yeah.
They were wearing the parachute pants, the whole 9 yards, and they had the big ass old school boombox. Mm-hmm. Start playing some early '80s breakdancing music, and they just start dancing. And of course, they're doing it for tips. And I was absolutely just like standing over it was like the bar had like a patio, they had like a railing down to the street. Mm-hmm. So I'm standing over the railing. I'm like, yeah, just
get some,
throwing them fucking money like they're strippers, just like launching dollar bills at them. Super, super fun.
Well, I guess in going into the monetizing thing, Red Bull has something called the BC1 competition, which is like a world breakdancing type of deal that they do. I don't think, the break dancers get paid or anything, or maybe like an appearance fee. But yeah, check it out on YouTube, man. I get lost down a rabbit hole looking at all these breakdancing videos.
All right. Okay. Things hit me, man. I'm going to be doing a little more editing on this with these pauses.
Round like an orange.
Okay, so I'll give you a completely useless skill that I think I would like to learn, and I think it's even more useless than breakdancing. Mm-hmm. Being able to do hand shadow puppets.
Bravo, sir. That is... I'm kind of sorry I didn't come up with that one. That's outstanding.
I can remember as a kid doing the dog. The dog is like an easy one, and the bird with you put your hands together like this or whatever, right? And you could do that. But I saw some dudes that would do some like really cool ones. And I remember this movie. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's called Bachelor Party. It's with Tom Hanks. It's one of his earlier films.
Okay.
Have you ever seen this movie?
It doesn't ring a bell.
It's absolutely hilarious, and it's everything you expect from the early to mid '80s. Kind of a TNA style comedy with a bunch of women running around with their tops off, and it's called Bachelor Party. So Tom Hanks
you expect that.
Yeah. So Tom Hanks' character is getting married, and his friends throw him a bachelor party, and just the insanity ensues. But they have a scene where they're going to show a stack film. So, it's the old school projector with the film. Mm-hmm. So, it fires up and you just got the lighted, screen on the wall with no pictures, and everybody starts sticking their hands and making these hand puppets, the shadow puppets, right? And one guy, and obviously I don't think it was actually done. Obviously it was an effect. Somebody just sticks their hand in there and they turn it into like a dick and it grows like a boner. And I was just like, yeah, I want to learn how to do that. As a kid, I thought that was real. I'm like, there's a way to do it. I'm trying to figure it out.
Shadow hand puppets. That's a great call, man.
Yeah, that's a good one. And that is completely useless because I don't think you can make money doing that.
I think tonight when I go home after dinner, I'm going to try and do that in the shadows.
Well, you can probably look it up on YouTube. There's guys out there, I'm sure, to show you how to do all the hand puppets.
You can start speaking of monetizing, you can start your own online university for shadow hand puppets. Oh man, well there's something for everyone and everything.
Of course.
That is for sure.
Of course.
Well, it's sticking with my theme of urban culture, hip hop culture, that I, again, 40 something years I've been fascinated by them. And they actually have something called the DMC World Championship for something like this, learning how to beatbox.
Okay, yeah. That's old school,
right? So there's also another thing called the World League Grand Beatbox Battle Championship.
Of course.
And it's people are so amazingly talented in the way that you can the human body can do all of those different things and create 18 sounds at the same time. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the Fat Boys were the ones that I think made that popular, and I don't know.
Fat Boys are back.
Yeah, and I don't know how many people even remember them. I mean, I guess if you're familiar with 80s hip hop, I don't think you wouldn't know who they are. But I think when you look at LL Cool J and Eric B and Rakim and all these old school rappers from the 80s, I think the Fat Boys kind of get lost in the mix.
Could be, I could enroll us right now. We could go up as the Fracky Mac versus Sean Landon Clark.
I don't know how to beatbox. I'm sure there was a period in my life where I may have attempted it because I was into that, shit when I was in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. We all listened to hip hop, especially where I was living just outside of Detroit. So it was super popular. All these kids were breakdancing and, kids were, I guess, starting to rap, doing stuff like that. And the beatbox was like a particular skill that I think kind of surpassed, because the rap back then was pretty, basic. Yeah. So beatboxing was a thing. Like if people could do it, they was like, whoa, shit, guys are walking stereo.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's some of these videos on YouTube of these people, like outside of any of these competitions. I mean, one of them I clicked on earlier, I was like, 9 million people have watched this guy make sounds. Like that's pretty fantastic.
I think a useless skill that I would like to learn and perfect would be calligraphy.
I totally dig that. I actually bought a calligraphy pen set not too long ago from Allard's. I just haven't had the patience to sit down and not be jittery from caffeine and actually try and write something.
Yeah, because I'm always impressed with those, the old school documents, especially from like the founding fathers. You got Constitution, Declaration of Independence, so beautifully written.
Do you ever handwrite thank you cards?
Yeah, I'd do that. Mm-hmm.
Would you say that you have good handwriting or nice handwriting?
I have decent handwriting.
Okay.
But I think when I was a kid, I had really good handwriting. But once computers kind of came into the mix, people just don't handwrite as much as they used to. Mm-hmm. And I think the last time I actually wrote something by hand that was kind of lengthy, my hand started to hurt, just not used to doing it.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I've gotten out of the routine, but I would write thank you cards to clients like after I'd finish a project with them. And you're right, like you spend your entire life on the keyboard, but it's not until you actually sit down with a piece of paper to like handwrite a note, and then invariably, like, the last sentence of the letter, it's like, oh, you misspelled something. Like, geez Louise, man, I got to do this all over again. But no, calligraphy would be fantastic.
I mean, that's something I would actually want to do. Now, hand shadows, I'm not necessarily 100% thinking I would dive deep into that. Calligraphy, though, I might.
You could join a hand shadow puppet gang. So, in terms of calligraphy, what would you do with it? Like, would you write just friends?
Well, we're talking about a useless skill. You can't do shit with it. I think. I mean, my first thought would be, I would probably write like really cool letters to people. But my first thought is I would probably write them to, like try to show it off to girls, right? To some women. Oh, that's nice. Oh yeah, I can do that. Got these magic hands, baby.
Yeah. Are there classes to learn how to do that? And I'm genuinely asking this because I am interested in it.
I don't know specifically, but I can guarantee you they do exist because I've seen like those adult schools that teach all kinds of just useless shit. That's got to be included.
Okay, yeah, calligraphy. Yeah, some of those pens are really cool.
Oh yeah, they're super dope.
I like going to the art store and just you and I have talked about this before. I think I have a fairly creative brain. I just can't execute with my hands, type of a thing. But it is neat seeing all of the pens and the glass case that people use for that type of art.
Oh yeah,
freaking awesome, man. I'm still stuck on like the Fracky Mac versus Sean Landon Clark.
We can do a beatbox competition on the 52nd episode of the year anniversary. Better start practicing.
Yeah. Okay, this one kind of falls in the same realm as breakdancing, but it's different. I was 4 years old when this came out in April of 1983. I remember sitting on my parents' shag carpet on the floor, staring up at the TV, watching the Motown 25th anniversary show on TV. And when Michael Jackson busted out the moonwalk to Billie Jean, it blew my mind.
Yeah, you and the rest of the country.
And ever since then, I've, even like getting a pair of socks on like a slippery wooden floor.
Yeah.
I've still tried to replicate it, and I've got like all kinds of left feet, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, that was an iconic moment. It's kind of strange because I remember seeing it, and I don't know if I saw it live. I don't think I did, but it became such an iconic moment. And everybody was just like, it's like he's, walking on air or some shit like that. And I've rewatched it. I mean, it's cool, but to me, it doesn't look like it's anything mind-blowingly special. Although you look at the audience, when he's up there performing, they're, cheering and whatnot. But when he busted that thing out,
people lost their minds.
People lost their minds. Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah, like I said, I remember 4 years old watching that happen, and it blew my mind as I'm sitting on the carpet.
Well, you're 4 years old. Everything blows your mind at 4.
But even then, like, the music was always on in our household, and it was, and we, watch early music videos and all that kind of stuff. But no, that iconic. And it's funny. As I was scribbling some notes for our visit today, I was like, who, I know Michael Jackson didn't create the moonwalk, but I'm going to drop some knowledge on you because he had to learn it from somebody, right?
I'm assuming. Not necessarily. I mean, he was a really talented dancer. It's possible he could have come up with that on his own.
Well, he learned it from a gentleman named Jeff Daniels, who was in
the guy from Dumb and Dumber.
Right? He was in an R&B group called Shalamar.
Wait, Shalamar.
Shalamar? I like how I say it. Shalamar.
It was made famous by Dave Chappelle, right? Remember this?
No.
The Mickey Free?
Mm-mm.
What?
True story. Well, I haven't. I would say I've only seen a half of Chappelle.
Oh my God! You need to get on Chappelle immediately. So you never saw Charlie Murphy's True Hollywood Stories?
No.
Wait, hold up. You've never seen?
I know what I'm doing tonight.
Screw the rest of Dave Chappelle. You have to watch his True Hollywood Stories with Charlie Murphy.
Okay.
You know who Charlie Murphy is,
yeah,
right?
Of course I do. Yeah. True Hollywood Stories.
Yeah, the Rick James episode. They only did 2. They did one with Prince. The Prince one's funny, but the classic one's with Rick James. And that's when Charlie Murphy talks about Shalamar.
Okay.
So basically, the skit goes, it's just Charlie Murphy telling these stories about when, his brother Eddie was, the biggest star on the planet. And he's hanging out with all these different celebrities. And he talks about hanging out with Rick James. And of course, he just starts the story where he's like, in the 80s, everyone looked like a bitch. The guys that got the most girls were the ones that looked like a girl, right? And he starts talking about how he was in this club, and he's like, I was with my friends, and the guys from Shalimar came in, and like my friend was like, have you seen that new bitch that's in Shalimar? Bitch is fine as fuck. And it's like, nah, man, that's Mickey Free. That's not a chick. And at one point, I think it was Vlad. I don't know if you watched Vlad, right? Or
You told me about that.
He
one.
interviewed Mickey Free and asked him about that, and he was just having a fucking laugh over it. He goes, yeah, I remember that.
That's awesome.
Shalimar. Yeah, they were a big band. They had a couple of hit songs, so I didn't know that.
Yeah, so there you go. Jeff Daniels, Shalimar.
Interesting. I'm surprised his name was Jeff Daniels. It doesn't sound like a name that would be in Shalimar. I think Mickey Free would be name in Shalimar.
But yeah, and I don't think you can certainly monetize moonwalking, but it would be great, like if you were in a situation, somebody asked you a question about something, and you're like, man, I don't know, but watch this.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you could monetize any of this stuff. You can monetize it. Look at what's on TikTok. People monetize like snorting cinnamon and shit like that. So you can you can monetize any of these things. Like the big one is to eat the like the hottest peppers on the planet.
Oh yeah.
So talk about useless skills. We could basically take all of TikTok and probably create 50 episodes on useless skills.
There's something. Throw all that into Chat GPT and say, what's the next new thing?
That's right. That's all you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I give you one that it kind of bounces back to our last episode when you said I had this eidetic memory. That's the right way?
Yes, that's the right way. Yeah.
And I said I don't. That I am full of useless facts. That's what I.
Fun trivia. Trivia.
So I think a useless skill that I've already mastered, which is memorizing a bunch of useless facts. Kind of like going back to Cheers, right? Mm-hmm. Cliff Clavin, right? So that's a useless skill that I don't think I need to learn. I think I may already have mastered that because I'm full of tons of useless facts. I mean, even before the show started, I'm wearing a Morton Downey Jr. shirt, and Joe's like, I don't know who that is. I know everything about Morton Downey Jr. If you know who he is, great. If you don't, he's kind of the original Jerry Springer. But the idea that I could talk to you for about an hour about all the Morton Downey Jr. shit, and again, totally useless information, but I've memorized a lot of it, if not all of it.
Oh, I mean, after you showed it to me, and I'd never seen it before, but how iconic is that it's one of the best if you know things. Yeah. Like when I asked you, has anybody that's seen your T-shirt actually knows what that is? And you said yes.
Yeah. I had a colleague at work saw it, and he started laughing. He was like, where the hell did you get that? And again, it's the internet. You can go to, I get a lot of my shirts from a website called TeePublic. Okay. And I mean, if you can think of it, someone's designed a shirt around it. And I mean, really obscure stuff. Okay. And obviously, even if you can't find it, you can create your own store and you can create your own shirts. So you can do it yourself if you can't find it.
Is it like all copyright protected and whatnot?
You know what? I don't think so, because they have stuff on there that's clearly would be infringing on all kinds of copyrights. I don't know to what extent these companies care. I don't know to what extent they have an actual claim to it. Because again, a lot of the stuff, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, you can go on there and look up, let's say, Breaking Bad, and they'll have Heisenberg and Jesse and all the characters. So obviously, no one's stopping them from doing it, and I don't know why. Again, I just assume they don't care.
China.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't think they come from China. It's possible, but I don't think it does. I don't think it comes from China. I was thinking, is when I buy shirts, I typically try to find like kind of obscure things, just because that's how I judge whether I can be your friend or not. If I wear a shirt and you recognize what I'm wearing, then I know that we can be friends. That's kind of how I approach it. It seems kind of stupid because it is stupid, but it is one of the ways that I identify whether or not I can connect with somebody, if they recognize what obscure shit I'm wearing. Like if I go out tonight wearing a Morton Downey Jr. shirt, anybody that, oh man, Morton Downey Jr., then I'm like, yeah, we can talk.
Yeah. No, that's great, man.
Yeah. One time I wanted to get a Gary's Old Town Tavern shirt. So this goes back to Cheers, and I don't know if you watched the entire series.
No, I never. That was like 2 years before my time.
Okay, so on the show Cheers, they had a a handful of episodes, and they're considered some of the most classic episodes, where they fight their rival bar, Gary's Old Town Tavern. And what's funny about this is it's a sitcom, so each week something's happening. You never hear about this other bar. But the episodes they do, an episode where they go up against Gary and they pull pranks on each other, they act like this has been going on forever. This is always amazing to me about television shows. Just this bar appears out of nowhere and everybody's like, oh, Gary's. And so I did look up, they're not going to have a Gary's Old Town Tavern t-shirt. They have tons of Cheers stuff. But
Right.
Yeah, they do. Somebody made it, a couple of Gary's Old Town Tavern t-shirts.
That's cool, man. Yeah, that's cool. There's a niche for everyone. That is for sure.
So, yeah, it goes back to Cliff Clavin, memorizing useless facts. Because if you've ever seen the show, that was Cliff Clavin's character. Just a boatload of useless information.
Yeah. Well, I think, what's the name of that website?
TeePublic.
TeePublic.
Yeah, TEE Public.
Check and see if they have any like cool Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Oh, yeah. And their shirts are really high quality.
Okay, cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Leave a like on the video. I know you're enjoying this. Can you shut up?
The internet's answer to a question that was never asked. The Tilted Table with Sean and Joe.
So one of the ways I actually, I relax. Most people do not think this is relaxing at all. If I could quit my day job and learn how to be very proficient on the turntables and scratching records, that would be awesome. I think they refer to it. There's a technical term. It's called funky turntablism.
That's an actual thing?
That's an actual thing.
Oh, shit.
To be a funky turntablist.
Okay.
I don't know. There's something like soothing, artistic. It's almost like listening to a really cool, different language type of deal. I'd love to learn how to scratch records and just leave it there. And there's there's everything on YouTube, but the DMC World DJ Final.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's, it's not useless. People make, careers out of being, a turntablist, a DJ.
Well, and that's why I was very specific for the point of this conversation and like record scratching, because certainly like if once you throw music and let the turntables roll, like, well, now you're a DJ and you can monetize that and headline Coachella if you wanted and all that.
Yeah, I would assume that straight up old school scratching. I mean, obviously there's an audience for it, but definitely not the audience you would have for being a straight DJ.
There's a couple times that people will walk in and I'm just listening to it. Again, for me, I find it very relaxing and it kind of gets me into like a creative groove. And they're like, "What is this noise?"
What?
Wickety, 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 wickety.
That's crazy because I love that stuff. I'm old school. I grew up on that shit.
Yeah, there's a channel on YouTube called Lo-Fi Grizzly, which is basically like 90s hip hop, backbeats, boom bap, turntablism. There's no lyrics to any of it. It's just kind of like this, 3-hour constant loop almost. And I'll drop it into our text chat. It's Lo-Fi Grizzly is awesome.
Oh, okay.
If I need to if I'm gonna be writing for a long period of time, that's usually like the soundtrack to the way that I think.
What would your DJ name be?
I just leave it at the Fracky Mac.
You would go with the Fracky Mac.
Yeah, dude, all lowercase.
All lowercase.
I've even got the font picked out and everything, man.
See, I would go with Scratchalicious, but I think that's probably already taken. It's got to be.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. But no, it's you can tell. I think where we. Being two middle-aged guys, it's really easy to have the conversation. If you could quit your day job tomorrow, what would you do? I'm like, oh, I got this, and this. So I'm totally digging the useless things to quit your day job for.
Well, again, that's the criteria of quitting your job. I don't know if I would quit my job for any of these things. Even if I really wanted to, unless I was filthy rich, then it wouldn't really matter what I did.
No, and I think that could be part of it,
right?
Yeah, we're also both reasonable people and mindful
most of the time.
Yeah, as long as we're not in an altered state of mind. How's that?
Oh yeah. I think another useless skill that I would actually quit my job for, but I wouldn't do it just because it would be just a miserable existence, would be a beer drinker. Large consumption of beer.
Kind of like the Nathan's hot dog guy. Like, would that...
Yeah, it would be like the eating championships. You know what? I wonder if they do. No, they can't. That'd be dangerous. But that doesn't stop people from doing things. It wouldn't surprise me if they had some sort of like alcohol contest where you would just who can drink the most in the shortest amount of time.
You can drink a boot in one gulp.
I know it has to exist somewhere. Maybe not in America, but somewhere that exists.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, I'll throw something out to you. I think it's absolutely, completely useless skill. And this is not something you quit your job for. It's just absolutely useless.
Okay.
But I know people that still do this, and they're mostly older people, is balancing a goddamn checkbook. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Do they even still make those ledger books?
Well, when you get checks, they come with a little ledger side. They still do it.
When was the last time you ordered checks?
I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years ago. I still have checks that have an address on them that haven't lived at that address in fucking 20 some odd years.
Man, you got to run that stuff through a shredder, man.
Well, some people still use checks. Like,
there's a couple places here in town that they will only take cash or check. Like no credit cards, no ATM.
Yeah, I've run into those places.
No tap, no Apple Pay, none of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, you would take a check versus like an ATM card? That's bananas.
Yeah, I don't understand that. There is a place I'm not going to say what they do for business, but they won't take credit cards. They only take debit cards. And it has to be in round numbers. So if you buy something, let's say it's $15 and 25 cents, they give you, they round it up to 20, they charge you 20, and then they give you the difference in cash.
Really?
Yeah, it's the fucking weirdest thing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'm not going to put the business out there, but I find it to be very odd that they do that. Yeah. So what do I know?
Tell me you're not laundering money without laundering money.
It sounds like they're doing something shady for sure.
That's wild. Here's another one. Street surfing. Like I know I shared with you.
Hold on. Before you get in, what the hell street surfing?
That's what I'm going to say is rollerblading. But there's these. I'm sure I'm not on TikTok or any of that. But there's I'm sure a zillion of these on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, where in different cities around the world they'll like shut down tunnels and overpasses in downtown areas, and then people will rollerblade these long distance with selfie sticks and create cool videos, and they refer to it as street surfing.
Okay, all right.
And then you'll sometimes they end up at a skate park with the bowls and the ramps and all that kind of stuff. There's this dude I found. His name is Montre Livingston. And he's like, one of the kings of street surfing. And yeah, man, I like during college, I think I had mentioned to you, I had no money. I used my student loan money to buy a pair of rollerblades, and then I commuted to university. I skated 18 miles a day.
God damn.
And so I actually got really good on my rollerblades. I could like hop over bushes, take off of like an on-ramp into like a fast food type of joint. I could clear the whole thing. It was cool. It was a great time in my life. My quads ended up looking like Dan Jansen from the Olympic speed skating team.
Right.
I had like a tiny top end part of my body, and then massive legs just from skating all around town.
Wow.
That's how I'd commute. So when I saw these street surfing videos, I'm like, man, that looks just freaking awesome. I would like to street surf all around the world.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally useless.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty useless. It's interesting because you said you got these awesome calves. I rode my bike to university, and I was riding. Shit, I must have been riding round trip because I'd go to school and I'd ride my bike to my job and then back home. I must have been riding 15 miles a day, maybe more. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I got in any particular great shape over it.
Wow.
But also was drinking extremely heavy, so I was probably counteracting it right when I got home.
Yeah.
Drinking cheap malt liquor.
Ooh.
Right? Well, when you're a broke college student with no life other than school, that's what you end up doing.
Yeah. Well,
your free time.
Either that or I would practice rollerblading around basketball courts at night to try and get really good so I could like grind rails and all that kind of stuff. So
Okay. Yeah.
poor college students doing poor college student things.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, another useless skill I think is pretty useless. Well, not too yeah, it is pretty useless. Is and something I actually would like to do because again, I think you can impress people with it in various social situations. Is origami.
Yeah, that is awesome. You mean like origami with the paper, or like the towels, like when you go on a cruise and come back to your room?
Right. Well, I think origami with the towels is like the elite, the cool level. Paper is the one I'm talking about, which is definitely the poor man's low budget.
Yeah.
The B movie version of origami.
Man, that is such a good one. I haven't even thought about or even heard the word origami in conversation in years.
I mean, can you make anything? I can make one thing. I can make a rose out of a piece of paper.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I could probably still pull off the swan.
The swan's pretty basic, right?
Yeah,
I don't think
like
I know how to do that though.
Entry level.
I know how to make a frog.
There's an idea for episode 52. I can like drop ship some origami paper as a preface.
Yeah.
Well, and why did your mind go to origami? Because that's such a good call.
I think because the last time I was on a cruise, I was really impressed with the towel origami that they put together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've always liked it. I think it's kind of cool, but I don't think it has any application other than to again, it seems like it's all going back to picking up women. Like if you could do it, it's kind of a cool thing to do, and people are kind of at least quasi impressed with it.
Did you go over when you go over to friends' houses and you use the restroom and like leave at the end of the night? You can just leave behind some towel origami in the bathroom.
That would be sweet. That would be sweet. Matter of fact, this is no longer a useless skill if you can do that.
Yeah, that can be like a service that you can provide to there's those what do they call it, Molly maids. There's like the chain of maids that will go to your house. Like you can provide like an add-on bonus of a towel origami if you.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Make little crabs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like it. Well, my last one, I this is near and dear to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's some way that you could like work this into an actual gig, and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, dude, that totally doesn't surprise me at all. Ready?
Yeah.
Cat whisperer.
There's no such thing.
There is such a thing. Like you heard.
Well, I mean, there's people that call themselves a cat whisperer. That doesn't mean shit.
Like there's a gentleman, Jackson Galaxy.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So like, if you could like read cat body language and like communicate in the right like meow, I think that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, but that's a reality TV, so I don't believe any of that shit. Like they say you can't train a cat. I say I could be the greatest cat trainer. I'll drop a cat onto the ground, and whatever it does, I'll just say to do that. So it'd be like, walk to your left, lick your own balls, right? Like whatever it's doing, I'm just gonna just shout it out. Like, look, he's doing everything I'm telling him.
Oh, but I think that would be so fun because we have our TNR stuff that we do in the neighborhood, and every morning, when I walk outside, I feel like the Pied Piper, and the cats, all the strays and whatnot, they hear my voice and they come from under the house and over the fence and under the bushes and across the street. And so I think I have like quasi, like maybe junior Jedi level skills being a cat whisperer.
I agree with that. You are a cat whisperer already. I don't think you have to obtain that skill. I think you may already have that skill.
But it's like using the Force though, to be able to be like, make eye contact with the cat and like know what they're thinking. I think that'd be pretty cool.
I think you know what they're thinking. Because I don't think a cat thinks about much of anything.
Kill, sleep, go to the bathroom.
Generally speaking, I think that's what most cats think about. If they're thinking at all.
But see, of all of these like fun, useless skills, like you could actually tell a friend like, "Hey, did you hear Joe's got like his whole cat whispering gig going on?"
Yeah, and somebody will pay you for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I got one, and this is to me the king of all useless skills. The problem is I'm not sure what it's called. I'm going to describe it to you because I know you did it as a kid. If you didn't do this as a kid, I'm going to be shocked, and it's going to just destroy this whole useless skill thing.
Okay.
That stupid football game we used to play as a kid where you would take a piece of paper, pour it into a triangle.
Oh, and punt it?
And kick it through your friend's fingers like a goalpost. Becoming an expert in whatever the hell that is called, That's a useless skill. Hands down, the most useless skill.
You could probably make money betting on that, though. I could see that. Like that's like a cool bar trick.
Yeah, and I can, and I'm putting it out there right now without any knowledge. I guarantee you, there's got to be some league somewhere. It's probably on the internet where they're doing this, and there's like championship level people that are doing that. Do you remember what it was called? Did they even have a? I mean, they call it football, I guess, but
I don't know.
I don't remember it having a specific name.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think it was actually called anything. It was just like kick the paper through the fingers type of deal.
Right. And I remember the way we used to do it. We'd have to sit at a long table, and you would get 3 shots to flick the triangle on the table to get it closest to the person as you could, and then you had to prop the thing up and boop and try to kick it through. And inevitably, you hit your friend in the face. More often than not, just peg him right in the eye.
There's I don't know what the game is called. Have you seen one of those like wooden devices? It's like it's a drinking game where there's like you have a hook on the end of a string.
Yeah, and you swing it, and you have to. And it's not a hook, the ring. And you have to swing it and land it on the hook.
Yeah.
My friend had one of those in his house. I played that about a year ago. The most useless bar games. He was good at it though. I suck at that shit.
Yeah. Did you guys make it into a drinking game or no?
I think we were just drinking. It probably was turned into. I don't really do drinking games like that. It's not my shtick. I remember playing, the game against people and losing miserably. I was terrible at it, but it wasn't any kind of drinking game. There's a Summer Fox, that brewery. They have that in there.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
They have a bunch of games like that, and that's one of the ones that they have. Chucking this ring on a string to try to land it on a hook.
Got it.
Yeah.
There's only this is just a quick funny aside. There's only one drinking game that I ever played, and I played it one time because it ended that badly. It was a chessboard, and the different chess pieces were like shots of whatever it was.
Right.
And I remember we finished. This is back in college. I remember finishing the game, and then I don't remember anything after that. It was like the final move got made, and then everything went black.
So the chess pieces are replaced with shots, and so every time you lose a. Okay.
Yep.
Oh God. What's funny about that is that chess is a sort of kind of elite, intelligent
grandmaster
thinking man's game.
Had the little clock on the side, with the little the tops that you would hit.
Figures that even the biggest drunks will turn something as classy as chess into a degenerate drinking game for sure. And how many motherfuckers that drink can actually play chess all that well if they know how to play at all?
Right. Right.
The sad thing is you're supposed to sacrifice your pawns to, move your major pieces into place. So you're going to be drinking quite a bit just by losing your pawn. You
got to brush up on your Gary Kasparov and Bobby Fischer moves for sure.
Well, so when they play the game, did they have like smaller shots for the weaker pieces? That seems that would make sense.
No, it was all the same.
See, that's dumb. You'd have to have like little tiny like quarter shots for the pawns, half shots for, maybe your... I don't know with the weaker pieces. Yeah, I've played chess a million times. You think I would know? The queen obviously being the strongest, the king being technically one of the weakest. You can't really do much with the king, and I guess everything else.
You got your rook, your knight, and your bishop.
Yeah, so to me those are all kind of equal. So those would be like maybe regular shots. The king would be, I guess, the final shot. I don't know. You would make that like a triple. Queen would be double.
Is this the prelude to episode 52?
Is this what we're? No, we're not doing that. We're planning on drinking on episode 52, but I don't want to play shot chess. I'd be fucking dead. Simply will not make it.
There's no end to it. The longest episode we've ever done.
Oh yeah, it'll be 5 hours because it'd be like 35 minutes of actual content, and then both of us passed out while the thing just rolls silently for like 4 hours.
It makes that that sound like when the needle goes off the record. Yep. Fantastic. Well, I love our episode about useless skills that you would immediately quit your day job for.
Yeah, and I think that for future reference, don't quit your day job.
That's probably a wise idea. We are not financial advisors. Please read all the disclaimers at the bottom of the page.
I have an important announcement for you, so stay tuned.
Yo, that's some next level shit, bruh.
So you got me. Big deal.
The internet's answer to a question no one asked. The Tilted Table with Sean and Joe.
Folks, thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Tilted Table, the internet's answer to a question that no one asked. I am Sean Landon Clark.
And I am Joey Joe, the Fracky Mac. Like, subscribe, ring all of the bells, the notifications, share with your friends.
And you can find us on all major social media platforms at The Tilted Table 1. And that's another useless skill that you can do.
Yes.
Peace.
Peace.